happy to have you. And kind of to kick things off here, before we ask you what everybody else's questions are and blah, 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 let me ask you the most important question anybody needs to be asking you right now. Risa, how are you?
I am doing okay. I'm a bit overwhelmed with everything, as people might imagine. So, on one hand, the support has been amazing, but I am very new to this, so
Sure.
I'm just trying to keep a level head, to be honest with you.
And I do not blame you. I think any human being in your shoes would feel like, yeah, overwhelmed is about the best word you can think of right now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You went from, I like that shirt. Yes, I survived the Legion. Is that available somewhere?
It is. A friend of mine actually made it, and I on my page is the pictures of the two shirts, and I tagged her in it. Her name is Designs by Alicia. So she
That
made
is
this, and
amazing.
she made a hashtag Who the F did I marry, and proof of funds is coming out I think tomorrow. So yeah.
Listen, I've never, like, after, because I was invested in your story. As you know, I watched the whole thing on live, and I was so invested. And after watching all 50 parts, just the word funds gives, like, makes me, jerk a little bit, Because I'm like you. You said in the series, I cannot imagine how somebody in their right mind would make a cash offer on a house without having the cash. I agree with you. Like, how the fuck does anybody do that?
Hmm.
That's the level of manipulation you were dealing with, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, but I know you're overwhelmed. I would be too. I mean, you literally went from 100,000 followers to 1 point. I can't keep up with it. How many million followers you got now, and tens of millions of views. Anybody in your shoes would feel overwhelmed. Remember, friend. You can always turn that app off, put that phone down, and just find comfort in the people that you already have in your life. And we're always here for you. We're hashtag Team Marisa around here. So
Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity to send you to London. I was happy to hear that you actually caught the end of my live the other day, and you heard me say even on my live I wanted to send you to London. So this is something we've been wanting to do since Saturday, and I was excited that you were comfortable with us doing it. So that's what we're going to do. So for the chat, let me get the chat up to speed. Me and Risa spoke before this, and we did some math. Okay, we've done all the math. And we think that, hang on, let me write it. I'm writing a sticker so you guys can see it. We think that $5,000 would be enough to cover um, airfare, hotel, and spending cash. However, there are a couple creators who've said they will buy the airfare. So if that happens, then the $5,000 would just be for hotel and spending cash. And so, hang on, I'm trying to get this so it's not in your face. Here, right here, there we go. But this is Miss Reese's Cash App and Venmo. They are the same, okay? So REESA MTESA. I've seen people write her name as Ressa M Tessa. That is not her name. It is two E's in the Risa and the Tisa. So make sure you get it right so we're not sending random people money. Throughout the evening, we'll get an update from Miss Risa where we are on that goal, and I will update the goal as we get updates from her. So that's the Cash App. That's the Venmo. Go ahead if you want to contribute to sending her to London, whether it's $1, $5, $10, $20, $100, whatever you want to send. $5,000 goal is what we're aiming for. And when we talked earlier, and I'll go ahead and let you, I won't speak for you. When do you think you'll be taking this trip?
So realistically, I would like to go around in the fall. So we're looking at a September time frame is what I would like to realistically try to go for.
And I think that's a smart idea. You said that's number one, probably a little cheaper.
Yeah.
And I think avoiding tourist season is going to help you to kind of get there without fighting the crowds and a bunch of people. You know what I mean? Now, are you going to take us with you on your journey?
Absolutely. Oh, I'm gonna
Yes.
document everything. I'm gonna document from the Uber that picks me up to the Atlanta Hartsfield airport, all the way through security into the yeah, everything. If I
I
can do a
love
50
it.
part series, I do come with me to London. So
Yes, ma'am.
absolutely,
If there is anybody I've ever trusted to give me the details, it
it'll
is
be
you, ma'am.
me.
It is
Yeah,
you. I believe you.
absolutely.
So what's the backstory on London? You said in the series, like, hey, it's always been my dream to go to London. Anything in particular? Why? You mentioned Paris as well. So why London and Paris?
So the people that know me know I'm pretty much a huge history buff.
Awesome.
I've always loved history. So, and I particularly always loved English history. So I really want to see the Tower of London where, Anne Boleyn was executed. I want to see Buckingham Palace. I want to see that London Eye, that big wheel. I really want to get on that. I want to have real fish and chips in a London pub. So that's for London. For Paris, I took French in high school. I don't remember hardly any of it, so don't hold it to me. But
Right.
once again, I've always loved the history. So for me, it's Versailles. Like I've always wanted to go to the Palace of Versailles. I know some people say the Louvre, but I've always wanted to go to the Palace of Versailles and see.
Listening to you talk about all these different spots and the history behind it now makes me even more excited to send you to London because you're not just your run-of-the-mill tourist. Like, you've done your homework.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you study, like, is that what you did in college was history, or you just always enjoyed history as a hobby almost?
History was more of a hobby. My major was more criminal justice, and
Got it.
I did a small stint in journalism communications, but I switched very quickly. So
Well, as we've seen this week on the internet, your calling might be communications and journalism. That might be where you should refocus because you know what, Risa? I've been on this app for 4 years. I've seen a lot of things. And one thing I've always told people is TikTok's just not a place for long form content. It just doesn't take off. It's not popular. It's hard to make when this app first started, it was 59 seconds. Not even a whole minute. You got 59 seconds. And they've been trying to push the long form content and no one has successfully did it. To say that you successfully did it would be the understatement of 2024. You did it in a way that has blown me away. You didn't just do one long form content. You did 50 long form content that has the entire internet in a chokehold. Two questions. Did you expect it to catch fire the way it did? And secondly, how do you feel now that it has?
So for question one, absolutely not. When I first uploaded the first 4 parts, I think that at most I had was maybe about 20,000 views. So mentally, I made the decision. I'm going to, first of all, if you're going to tell a story, I feel like tell the whole story and be detailed in the story. Like and I said this, like, y'all, I'm not about to do the whole drag it out for part 3, part 4. No one has time for that. So I had no idea it was going to turn into what it turned into. What I appreciate is the fact that people are watching it. Some are watching it for understanding. Some people are watching it because it strikes a chord with them. But my hope is that you don't necessarily have to sit there and watch the whole thing. Watch it when you want. That's why I created the playlist. I just ask that you hear this cautionary tale and, hopefully it helps somebody. That's what I want.
100%. And I imagine that as you told the story, you were like, oh, well, now I got to tell this, and now I got to tell this, and it became this extra part, and it just kind of took a life of its own. I don't even think you knew it was going to be 50 parts when you got into it.
No, I had no idea it was going to be 50, but I did know I was going to do as many parts as necessary and just put it in the playlist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, before everybody, has a panic attack, let's talk about the updates of today. So late last night, we saw Legion's first wife's son. So for the purpose of the chat, Legion's first wife, her name is Latoya. We now know that, not because anybody outed her. Latoya came on the internet herself, but we'll get to that. So Latoya's son came out, and I mean, in like the first 30 seconds, he said everything that lady told y'all about that man is true. And then this morning, or yeah, I think it was this morning, Latoya came out, might have been midday. Latoya is his first wife, and she said, I see my ex-husband's out here, I think how she worded, I see my ex-husband causing problems for people like he always has. Mm-hmm. How did it feel for you? Not that you needed it. I don't want this, I want everybody here to understand. Me personally, I believed Risa just by listening to her story. Nobody is that detailed in the story, that deliberate in the story, and that honest in the story. There were times during that story, Risa, where you were just so honest. Your vulnerability was admirable. I admired you for that. So I never questioned you, but obviously it being the internet, you got both sides of the copper coin. And now we got these people coming out and validating, hey, she's telling you the truth. How'd that feel for you?
So when I saw the son's video, I actually teared up, to be honest with you. I completely teared up. And I actually emailed him. He had emailed me first, but as you all can imagine, my inbox is crazy. So I didn't see it. So when I went to email him, I simply I said two words, thank you. And my purpose of saying thank you was I know he did not set out to necessarily validate me, but the fact that he said something showing, hey, this is exactly how this guy is. I knew what I was saying is the absolute truth. I knew that everything crazy that has happened really did happen. But it does feel kind of good to hear someone else say, yeah, he did the exact same thing when it was our turn, basically. And I just told him, I said, thank you. I said, you know, it's a wonderful thing that your mom has you to advocate for her. But yeah, I was grateful. I really was totally surprised.
And that's what I say. I don't, obviously, you know your story's true, and you don't need anybody to tell you your story's true. But you mentioned during the series, like, part of this was kind of healing for you, right? Just kind of getting it out of your soul, off your chest, into the atmosphere. But then, the internet being the internet, you had those people, and I argue it was a small group of people, because from what I see, the overwhelming majority of people were in 100% support of you, as they should be. But there were those people, and obviously I know that's going to kind of, that's going to irk you, or maybe, or whatever, kind of get to you. So I thought it was, I agree, I thought it was really nice for these other people who had experience with him to come out and say, yeah, she's telling the truth, like 100%, this is what happened. And so that was awesome. And I'm glad that you felt that validation from that. You deserve that validation. You deserve, for you to be as vulnerable as you were for the internet needs to recognize it. I really feel like that. You know what I mean? Hey, you didn't have to tell us any of this. You know what I mean? So, another question that everybody's asking, and everybody wants to know. Risa, is there going to be a book coming? Is this going into a book, a Netflix series? Where is this? What's next for the Legion of Lies?
In terms of a book, I definitely want to write a book. I have been having people ask me to write a book literally since this whole thing ended in 2021. I just simply wasn't ready. So I can definitely tell you that, again, if you're going to make a 50-part series, then chances are, I'll, get it out there. So I would love to write a book. I just don't really know anyone in the publishing world to assist me with that. In terms of anything in television and film, again, am I open to it? Absolutely. Because I do feel like the message of the story is powerful enough to help somebody. And so I do feel like it is worth putting it out there. Again, it's just a matter of connecting with the right people.
I completely agree. And right now, like you said, your inbox is so full. Who knows that there might be somebody in that inbox right now who's saying, hey, I'm a rep for Netflix. I'm a rep for a publishing company, whatever. And I'm glad to know that if the opportunity comes along, that's what you're looking to do, because I agree with you. You said in your series that it wasn't, how'd you say it wasn't just red flags, it was the United Nations of flags?
And then I changed it to the Parade of Nations from the Olympics, because that's actually
right.
Way more flags. But one of the things that I am very proud of for myself, I did not try to sugarcoat the story, and I did not try to put blame elsewhere. I believe that I took accountability for my part. And I felt like that was just as important, to not try to put a story out there as if it's all him, and I did nothing. That's not
Yeah.
what this story was. So I'm proud of
I mean,
myself.
for me, honestly, that was, and I've said this, I've said it 100 times, I'll say it 100 more times. I remember the first time in the series, it was probably like episode 5 or 6. You were like, look, if you're asking X, Y, Z, I'm going to be honest, even if it makes me look bad. And I kind of like, how honest is she about to be? And you were just blatantly honest. And that was super refreshing. You know, as well as I know, in the world of social media, people get on social media and they decide how they want themselves to look to other people. And so when you're telling a story like this, obviously you know, well, somebody's going to think this about me, and you could spin that, and you just didn't. You just put it out there. But let's be honest. And I was talking on this, about this last night on my live. And I did a poll. I said, hey, raise your hand. I did like a smiley face, sad face poll. If you've ever been in a relationship where you look back at it and you think, God, how did I miss all the red flags? God, what was I thinking? God, that was a mistake. And 90% of the people in my life said, yeah, I've done that. I've been there. So, I mean, you're a human being. You missed the red flags. You were looking for what you were looking for. And I greatly think, and I want to ask you this too, I greatly think the pandemic played a part in that. How much do you feel like the pandemic played into that decision making?
I feel like the pandemic was a huge part of it, because had there not been a pandemic, I think that there's this idea that I would have still moved him into my home, and that simply is not the case. When the decision came to where are we going to quarantine, I knew that I did not want to keep driving back and forth to Gwinnett County, and I knew that he did not want to keep driving back and forth to Clayton County. So as dumb as the decision may have been, the decision was made because of COVID. So certainly I would not have made that decision in a world like we are right now. Well, obviously I wouldn't make that decision now, but yeah, it definitely had to do with COVID, for sure.
I made the comparison yesterday. I used to be in the military, and one thing that always shocked me in the military was how quick people would move in together with each other, et cetera, et cetera. And I think, I don't think, I know the reason for that is when you're in the military, you're under these very unique, extenuating circumstances that you wouldn't ordinarily be in. You're not in your normal environment. You're away from your family. And the more I think about it, the more the pandemic was that. You're away from your family. You're out of your normal environment. You can't go anywhere. Can't do anything. This is a huge extent. So I really think it's very normal. And I bet you there's a bunch of people who did the same thing during the pandemic, moved in with somebody they probably wouldn't have moved in with. So, yeah, anybody beating you up over that, they're just doing it because they feel bad about themselves. Because that's just a normal thing. So now the big question, and everybody keeps asking it, are we dating now?
No, we are not. No. No.
I love it. So right now it's Risa time.
Right, correct.
I love that for you. And considering how the direction that this whole thing is going, blown up and taking TikTok by storm, has it changed? I know you seem to be a very well put together human being. So I guarantee you got this career path and you got your 1 year, 5 year, 10 year goals. Has it changed? Has it made you think maybe I can go this direction? Have you decided maybe to go into this type of? Has it changed your goals in life?
It hasn't changed, but I will say that I feel like it's a bit early. So who knows what will come of this? Because truthfully, as I said before, I had no idea that this was going to turn into what it turned into. I really thought it was just going to be a few thousand views, maybe a few thousand likes. I did not know it was going to balloon into what it ballooned into. If you believe that everything happens for a reason, then you got to believe that somehow this has erupted for a reason. So yeah, but it is still early to kind of see where the flow is going to go.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, and once again, that's the right answer. I mean, just having those reasonable expectations, and I think things do happen for a reason. I will reiterate, when I found your video last Saturday, or videos last Saturday, you had, I think, on average across them, a couple 100,000 views across them. And like I said, like 100,000 followers. And just from Saturday, what's today? Tuesday. Saturday to Tuesday, that's crazy to think about. It has gone from that to 1.3 million followers, tens of millions of views. It's out of control, out of control. But kudos to you. I wish you all the best on your success. All the best. There's one more. There's another question I want to ask. Everybody's asking. Before we do that, let's do a quick update on where we're at on the goal. Guys, if you're just getting here while she gets us some numbers, her Venmo and her Cash App is Risa M. Tisa. This goal right here is specifically designed to send her to London. Guys, we're going to send her to London and Paris because if you watch the 50-part series, then you would know that's kind of her dream. And we just heard a few minutes ago that not only is it her dream, she's educated on London language. She's not your casual tourist, so this is why it's her dream. I asked on Saturday, can we send you to London, Miss Risa? Because I was so moved by her story, and I think she deserves it. And I think if you're here and you're contributing to her goal, then you know she deserves it. And so, excuse me. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to send her to London. The goal is $5,000 because there is a creator here on the app that has stated they want to purchase the plane ticket. So what we'll do, that creator, I asked them through DM, through text message, if they could come up during the live and make that a public thing that they want to set up. They want to buy the plane ticket. They said that they'll be here. So whenever that creator comes through, I believe that her name is Shonda Martin. I'm very confident that's correct. I don't have my DMs open right now. But when Shonda Martin gets here and Shonda Martin wants to jump in the box with us, Shonda Martin's going to buy the plane ticket. So the $5,000 is literally for the hotel and just to have some spending cash. Now, let me say this. Some people said, hey, I got hotel points. I can book a hotel. And at first that sounded like a good idea because then the $5,000 can just be spending cash. But then we thought about it. Having a stranger book the hotel, we don't like that, all right? Because then that person will know what hotel she's in and know her everything. And as you can imagine, that's not something we want a stranger doing. No offense to anybody. If you were that person offering that, you could be a wonderful person. Just understand it's the internet, so we have to be a little more cautious. You know what I mean? So where are we at, Miss Risa?
Okay, so in total, the amount is $28.33.52.
$28.33.52.
That's both Cash App and Venmo, so that's the total.
Yes, ma'am. So let's do 5,000 minus 28.33 is 21.67. That brings our goal to 21.67. Thank you to everybody who's already contributed. That puts us literally a little bit over halfway to our goal already. Hang on. Let's be tacky. Hang on. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you to everybody who's contributed. A few people have been commenting on the shirt. Maybe you weren't here a minute ago, so let's talk about that. First of all, the shirt's badass. I can't get over it. I survived Legion. I'm going to have to go buy one myself. As soon as I'm off this live, I'm going to go. But tell us again, how do we get a shirt?
So if you go to my profile or my page, one of the last post that I did is a picture of this shirt, and there's another shirt that says hashtag who the F did I marry. The name of the person that made it, her name is Designs by Alicia, and I did I tagged her in the caption of the post. So all you have to do is go and either follow her or message her, and she will design one of these shirts. We also have a shirt that she asked me to approve that says proof of funds. So that's coming, and then a shirt that will say all printer, no fax. So that's coming too. There you go. So yeah.
When I tell you that printer joke will never die, that's the best. And maybe you do something around the cash offer. I just can't imagine. I can't imagine as a human being saying, yeah, I'm gonna put a cash offer, and not for a tiny house either. We're talking $700,000. That is crazy to me. Speaking of proof of funds, okay, here's a question that's going around, and it's also kind of a question I had. Shonda, I see you in the box. Please hang out in there. I'm going to add you briefly. Shonda is here. The question I kind of had, and a lot of people had, he said he was paying your bill, but it was the pandemic, and a lot of companies were not really evicting people or turning up alpha power stuff. So when all things were said and done, was he really paying your bills, or was he using the pandemic for cover?
So he was actually paying the household bills. So let me clarify this, because I've seen quite a few people making, kind of different videos. He was paying the bills. He did have a job at the condiment company. However, obviously, as we found out later on, that job was not regional manager. That job was not VP. But at the time that the relationship started, March until about January, again, he was paying all the bills. Things didn't start to change until he switched jobs around April of 2021, not April of 2020. So yes, he was paying all the bills, just fine, but he was working.
So when he left, if I remember correctly, he was like leaving at like 6:15 in the morning, coming back around 3:30, pretty much on like you could set your clock to it. And that was because he did have a real life job. It just wasn't the job he said. Now, and I think we know the answer, but we'll ask it. The transition to Apple, we don't think that was probably even a real thing. Or do we even know?
So the transition to Apple means that he got a job somewhere because he was still paying a portion of the bills. The reason why I say Apple is because I have no idea where he was working. But what I do know is that he was not working at Apple. So that's why I say that. I keep saying Apple with quotations to let you all know that's the lie, but I never verified the actual job the way that I did with the condiment company.
And, considering, going back to what you said in the series, you found out later pretty much if he said it, it was a lie. So I think we can all pretty much guarantee he wasn't working at Apple. I'm going to bring up Shonda Martin real briefly. Let's bring up Shonda. Guys, if you're just getting here while we get Shonda into the box, if you're just getting here, if you don't know who Risa is, I don't know what the hell you've been doing on TikTok for the last week, but go watch her 50-part series and come back. We won't be here, but that's who Risa is. We're sending Risa to London because if you did watch the 50-part series, then you would know that it is her dream to go to London and Paris, and after such a traumatic experience and being vulnerable enough to share that experience with us, then we think she deserves to go to London. So now, the guest that we just added, Miss Shonda Martin. How are you doing, Shonda?
Hi, how are you? How are you, Risa?
Hi.
I feel like I know you. I've been engulfed in like your search for the last few days.
Right.
But no.
So Shonda, you said, I think you made a whole video. Didn't you make a video about this too? You said,
Yeah,
hey,
I speak her.
Miss Risa, I want to send you to London.
I sure do. So, I would love to cover your flights round trip to and from. You're in Atlanta, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, from Atlanta to, I don't know which one you want to go to first, whether it's London and then either London to Paris. It can be whatever date you wish. You can go next weekend if you want. Or like if you need more time, it can be next year. It doesn't expire. So literally whenever you prefer, I got you. Flights on me. Literally